Wider participation and vulnerability. So we continue with this theme of wider participation and vulnerability in the multilingual context of Pakistan when certain linguistic hierarchy is at work, which hegemonizes the importance of English language and devalues the local linguistic capital of the people. So sense of being vulnerable was very clear in the government school participants. So this, I would say, was rightly so because of the minimal use of any local language in the urban areas of Karachi and of Lahore. So there was hardly any use of local languages in signposting or in explanation of the medical literature or in the pamphlets. Just did not need it, I guess. So this person actually coming from the government schools, he says English is as important as bread with gravy. So that is equating bread with English is almost like highlighting how English has become important for bare survival. So even a syringe has English on it. So disposable syringe that you're picking up also has English on it. Now I see there is a change ever since the data was collected, and now in some syringes that are being produced, there are also Urdu statements on it. It becomes a problem when you're choosing over-the-counter drugs because several of them imported because there is very little English information, Urdu information on them. And similarly, if you want to know what is the problem with you and you want to check it on the internet, those who know English language can browse through the internet, come up and look at the counter indications and make informed choices about what they should do, whether it is simply about losing weight or is it about like boys want to do some sort of bodybuilding or going to gym. This information is very limited for those who do not know the language, that is the English language. There was a sense of vulnerability in terms of finding employment and an English because of English, and this government school participant said that even if you want to be a waiter at Pizza Hut, you need to know English. So even jobs like waiter job in different hotel restaurants like Pizza Hut or KFC or McDonald's would require people to know some English language. So the informed choices that they could make, because most of were limited, because so much information around them was coming to them in a language that they did not understand. Now this is interesting because the results of my study actually match with the results of studies done in immigrant contexts. That is, when people move into another country and they cannot access information because they don't know the language. But over here, this was true of our own citizens. Coming to health-based seminars, several medical universities start offering health-based seminars. They are done on television also, and they are also offered by these medical colleges. Especially when there was, at that time, there was this dengue epidemic that was spreading. Now, interestingly, this health seminar, which was free for all and held by a very reputed medical college, and anyone can attend it, but those who could understand English language. So the most vulnerable of them, living in the most vulnerable conditions, could not make a head or tail of that seminar because all the seminar for general public was only in English language. So TV channels, the information they provide, now there are so many different channels. There are Urdu channels also, and there are regional channels also. But the information that comes from regional language based channels is much limited in the scope of news, in the scope of the programs they offer. And having said that, even the Urdu channels at times use so much code switching That is, they use so many English words that it becomes very difficult for people to follow them. So please remember, every word spoken in English is lost on them. We might think everybody knows English language. Well, having been there for, there are so many words that they are cognates. They are similar in English and Urdu. But but it happens that at times when we are code switching, we do not realize that certain aspects are not clear to those who do not know English language. There was this case of one person who actually called up the TV channel and asked them not to code switch into English so much because they could not understand. And he said, well, they hardly took any notice of it. I personally had this experience that when I was in Urdu, when I was conducting these interviews, I did my pilot study at a government school, and I realized that they simply could not understand. And I thought there's something definitely deficient in these students, that they could not do any abstract thinking. And when I looked at my transcripts carefully and listened to what I was saying, I realized I was using a lot of English language words which might not have been clear to those students. So it was not the students with whom the problem lay. It was me, myself, and my use of language, inappropriate language in that sense, because of using a language which the participants could not understand. That led to the problem, and then I tried to fix it.